Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again. This is the Devil May Cry demo, and this has been widely requested on my channel, so here it is, guys, for everybody that wanted it. This is on the Son of Sparda difficulty, and this is the first of the playable levels. This is Underwatch. So to unlock Son of Sparda, pretty much what you have to do is beat, I believe, Nephilim, or just beat the demo and it unlocks for you. And the differences between Nephilim and this difficulty are quite noticeable. There's a couple of new enemies turning up, a couple of very specific type of enemies which I've got mixed opinions on. But for the most, it's pretty simple. You'll have to bear with me though. I'm going to make it look much harder than it needs to be, because as it currently stands, I'm not very good at this game. And it's one of those things where I'm having a very hard time wrapping my brain around all the different things that you can do. And I get to that point where I find myself neglecting certain abilities and certain moves because it doesn't come natural for me to use them yet. And that's something that comes in time, that, folks. That's something that comes when you play through the game. And by the end of the game, you know, everything's just working perfectly, everything just seems to make sense, and it's more reflex and instinct than it is actually thinking about what you're doing. And right now, I've played the demo a handful of times, and I'm definitely thinking about what I'm doing, and it doesn't feel natural. But don't worry, I will get better, and when the game comes out, hopefully I'll be pretty damn competent. Because I will be playing this demo until the game comes out, because it's a lot of fun, and I love these franchises, I really do. There's a lot of depth to them. And for everybody that was, you know, worried or hateful of this game, I'm hoping that the demo's changed a lot of people's perspective. I just think the best way to look at it is, you know, if they kept releasing the same game, we'd eventually get so sick of it we wouldn't want to buy it, and it'd be just Call of Duty all over again. And I wouldn't want that for this type of game, even though I probably would never hate it if they did mass produce it. But I should really give you a review-esque of my feelings at this moment in time on the things that I like, the things that I don't like. They're only going to pertain to the demo, because the main game is going to be very different, because I can tell you straight away, there are differences to this demo to the one I played at the convention. They've changed quite a lot of things, and it quite surprised me, which is a good thing, I believe. But one thing I really don't like is this fucking enemy right now. These flying cherubs with the laser that tells you that you're about to get shot. Combine that with the lock-on, which is automatic and you can't control it. That is one of my biggest pet peeves with the game in general. The lock-on is not great. Oh, actually, that's a disservice. The lock-on is fine until it fucks you, is probably the best way I can put it. And for most enemies, you're not going to have any problem with them, but for the flying stuff, when you want to prioritise flying over grounded opponents, it's practically impossible to do that unless you're so close to them you're practically kissing them with your whip, and that can be awkward at times. But the cherubs, you know, they're one of those enemies that I knew I was going to dislike when I first met them, because they're the enemy that sneaks up on you and breaks your rank. You're getting a really good combo going, you're building your stylish meter, and then they shoot you. And it's just that type of thing. And there's actually a different version of them on Son of Sparda. I don't know what they're called, but they're worse. They're much worse. But I'll talk about those when we get to them. Not a fan of that enemy at all. Good things. The game is beautiful. Although the game runs at 30 frames per second and it is slightly slower than the older games, it doesn't feel like a 30 frames per second game. It feels like a game that's running at full click, and I like that. Don't get me wrong, there are certain moments where the frame rate does dip, there are certain moments where there's a bit of screen tearing. I don't know if that's because of the optimization or if it's because it's just the demo build. I'm not entirely sure, but what you've got to bear in mind, guys, is for everything that's happening and for the measures of details that they have in these environments, this game plays extremely well, all considered. So I like the fact you have the access to everything at once. I was watching a developer livecast of this game, and he was basically saying is instead of having styles, you've now got this ability to effectively have everything at once, so that you can link it all together and specialise. And at first I didn't really understand what that meant, and the more I've played it, the more I realised that you really do have access to everything that you could possibly need. And one thing people might be thinking when they've played this demo is, oh, there's not that many moves, or, you know, it felt a little bit limited, and that's not the case at all. One criticism I do have is the move list does not tell you all the moves in the demo. So much so that I'm actually making a video to show people some of the moves they might not have figured out, and none of them are rocket science, but if you don't know them, you don't know them, and hopefully that'll help some people out with their enjoyment. But not only does it not mention some of the moves that are in the demo, but it actually locks your weapons, because listening to this developer, he basically said that there are only a certain amount of unlocks that you have at this moment in time. You have a very limited Dante, and judging by how quickly you amass the unlocks, you're probably going to get a lot of moves and a lot of abilities for each of these weapons, and we haven't even seen what all the weapons are or how they play off each other when used in tandem, so I think the depth, the creativity and the move list is going to be really impressive in this game. The demo itself is a decent example of this, but I don't think it's nowhere near the true vision of how creative we're going to be able to get. Oh, be careful of these things. These are the upgraded cherubs. I hate them. The tip I could give you to fight them, use the blue whip, the angel attach, which pulls you to them rather than them to you, because it doesn't seem to work the other one as well. And just juggle them as much as you can. As soon as you see them turning into the wind, get away from them, because they're going to do an area of effect move. If you see them glow, they're going to fire a javelin thing at you that's got some wicked range. You can parry it, but it's dangerous. And if you don't want to fight them honourably, just charge your guns up, run away and hit them with that. It's not very quick, but it'll do the job. But things I like the platforming. I know that Ninja Theory are great with platforming. I like the interactivity between the characters. I'm looking forward to getting, you know, very similar to Trip. Is it Trix or Trip? Trip and Monkey. I can't remember her name, but the main characters Enslaved had such a well-developed relationship that I'm looking forward to that in this universe. And a lot of people have thrown criticisms towards, you know, oh, the Dante and the boss swear at each other, and I really don't mind that, because it's so over the top and ridiculous that it's kind of funny, and you know that it's intentionally that way. They don't just think swearing is cool. They know the concept of a boss and Dante swearing at each other is preposterous and stupid, and it's one of those really almost grindhouse moments of awesomeness, and it's kind of cool. But I'm looking forward to the more nuanced stuff and the more, you know, character-oriented areas of the game, because I think that's good. But I love the fact that there are secrets in the levels. Devil May Cry has always done secrets well, and this game seems to have added collectibles that aren't complete bullshit. One kind of sucky aspect to them, in my opinion, which is good for some people, bad for other people, as I mess about jump cancelling here with this blue guy, because I really do not like the weapon-specific enemies. It really limits what you can do with them. Because if you haven't realised, if something's blue like that, you have to use Osiris to kill it. If something's red, you need to use the Arbiter. And the amount of times I've tried to hit them with anything but the weapon you need to, just to try and do a different combo, and rebounded off them like an idiot, is pretty high, so it's kind of frustrating. You'll notice I'm trying to go for a quite speedy run, so I'm not going in all the secret areas and picking up all the orbs. Because as I was mentioning, the way they've done it on this game is, if anybody tried to S-rank Devil May Cry 4, one of the gayest parts of that entire process was finding all the orbs, because you had to be quick, you had to be stylish, and you had to find all these preset caches of orbs, which was really tedious, but it's the Devil May Cry thing, so I didn't mind it so much. Well, on this game what happens is there are a handful of these lost souls, there are a handful of keys, and a handful of secret missions, and once you find all of them, you do not have to find them again. You can just play the level as normal, and you will get a 100% completion rank bonus, which is the highest you can get. And if you've played Hitman Absolution recently, think of it as the challenges. Once you complete all the challenges, you get the ultimate bonus for your score, and it's just like that. And on the one hand, that enables people that want to go for the, you know, the SSS ranks, the Nazi ranks. Now look at him, the triple S rank. It allows them not to have to worry about looking for orbs and all that kind of business, and focus on doing the good stuff. But at the same time, it's kind of playing the game for you a little bit. So I find that quite interesting. One thing I really hate about this game is this. I hate the Devil Trigger. Why does it knock everybody into the air? And I played this area really wrong. I wanted to use Devil Trigger to finish them off. I couldn't reach them because of the stupid fucking activation. And for anybody wondering how I should have handled that situation, I should have whipped myself to the enemy. That would have put me on equal playing fields. I'd have been able to hit them. Ooh, an interesting note as well. Whenever that red guy does the ground area of effect, if you're holding the Arbiter trigger, which I believe is the right trigger, you will not take any damage because you are using that element, which is really interesting to see. Not too sure if it works with this guy, because this guy freezes you and it's really gay. But yeah, these dudes can be difficult to kill because they've got a lot of life, and some of these weapons do not do that much damage. Like this weapon here, Osiris, you'll notice it's got a glow on. The reason it's got a glow on is because I've powered it up from doing continuous attacks. And it's a cool idea, and I hope it's going to pay off later on when you've got some really amazing moves. But as it stands, it just encourages you to be a little bit spammy, and that's one of the things I noticed on this demo. You can really bash if you want to, and because they've only given you so many moves, it makes the bashing a little bit more noticeable because you don't exactly have, you know, some of the more nuanced combos to help you build things up, which is both good to new players and good to people that want to be lazy, but I prefer it when I've got a handful of different techniques to use rather than just using the same one. But the game is good, man. It's really fun. I'm really interested to see what reviews it gets, because they can't get away from the fact there is a lot of internet hate against this game, and it doesn't make any sense. It's one of it's like the Star Wars, you know, Enigma. If anything has Star Wars on it, it's going to get mercilessly judged off of the standards of the first 3 films. And don't get me wrong, this is not me defending the 3 films that followed, or the 3 films that they're making. It's just one of those things where you always judge it based on its origins, and this is meant to be like a reimagining. This is meant to be what they did to Star Trek, and I think if you come into it looking at it at that perspective, you're going to have a really good time. If you don't, you're probably going to get severely pissed off. But a couple of other things. The responsiveness is good in the game, but there are a couple of opportunities where I've pressed something and the input's not registered. That could probably be my pad, so I'm not going to knock that against the game. The camera is altogether good, but there are a few instances where it's a bit annoying and a little bit frustrating. And I don't think you can change the sensitivity of the camera, which really frustrates me. And I think the reason why they don't give you the option is because of the way that the game renders the visuals, and if you turn the camera too quickly, maybe you'd get texture popping, or maybe you'd get screen tearing. I'm not entirely sure of the technical aspects of it, but I haven't really had too much opportunity to speak about this game, but I will be bringing you more videos, guys, so I can wax poetic about my feelings. I haven't even mentioned some of the things I like or some of the things I dislike, because my mind kind of went blank just then. But that is a walkthrough of the demo first level. It's only an SS rank, I do apologise, folks. Didn't quite get the time bonus to get the triple S, didn't quite get the style bonus either, but I wanted to get some gameplay up, so there you go. Thanks for watching, and you take care now.